Shakopee duty crew, this is your page to assist PD with a no-injury accident. There's a vehicle that drove through two people's homes and crashed in a garage. No injuries have been reported. Check for structural damage. Fire ground is 5, time of page 1300.
Scott County, Shakopee Engine 1 will be en route.
Shakopee Engine 1 en route at 1302.
The diversity of the job is not what I expected at first. I thought I was going into this field working with fire, and that was it, and every day there's going to be a fire, and then I quickly realized there was EMS and all these other aspects, and it was a good surprise to have. It's good to know that you can gain competency in multiple different fields. It's never a boring day.
We do get more medical and lift assist calls throughout the district than we do fire, for sure.
And there's just like so much that you can learn. It's like constantly evolving too, which I think is super cool. There's always new techniques or new equipment that's being used.
The fire service is always evolving. One of the challenges we run into is there's not usually one thing that works best for all given situations. So we'll have fires in older homes downtown with a 20-foot setback in the front yard. The next fire could be in a home out on a large acre lot. And then after that, we go to an apartment building with 400-foot hallways where we're hooking up hoses and standpipes in the stairwells. And it just requires a lot of different knowledge on how to apply that given the situation.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. A lot of the calls that we get are false alarms that we run into there, but you never know, so it's better to go thinking it's going to be something big and downgrade it rather than assume that it's something small and then be unprepared for when you arrive there. So with fire alarms and smoke detectors, anything like that, you just assume it's an emergency there.
So I originally started out of high school. I was in the military to pay for school, was overseas in Iraq. After 8 years in the military, working with explosives, that was a long 8 years, so I found firefighting it matched the team dynamic, the intensity. There's a aspect of adventure and adrenaline. It's a heavy responsibility, knowing that not only do I have to perform my skills, but when it comes time for an event, that my team has to know their skills, and if they don't know those skills, it's on me to train them to do that. So not only am I worried about my safety in the back of my head and going home to my family, but I've got to worry about their safety every single day.
Ready?
Yep.
All right, go.
I would say there isn't really ever a day that goes by where we don't get any training done. It's like there's always something that gets done.
We do a lot of training for structure fires, car accidents, and we don't see those every day, but because we don't do those so often, we want to be sharp with our skills. That's why we train hard for those, because they come once in a while, and when they do come, we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and everybody's doing the correct role that they're in.
The goal of our organization is to develop smart thinking firefighters, and we drive a lot of our training today through data and what we need all the individual firefighters on our truck to do when they get to a fire ground. A lot of that is just driven on individual skills. Today we were training on our hose loads, and when we practice with our hose load, our focus is to help our firefighters look at a given situation and develop the best way to pull the hose load through that. We're out at Valley Fair today, where they're working in more of a man-made or structural environment. Shakopee Fire Department is participating in a 3-day training event that includes departments from across the state. Today they're spending 8 hours working on the corkscrew, where they're going to simulate a stranded maintenance worker. They'll also be working on the top of the power tower, and in that scenario they've got a maintenance worker with a back injury who can't climb themselves down, so we've got to lower them from there. The reason it's important for us to work with all these different agencies is everyone brings a different skill set to the table. There's a whole bunch of different best practices within the tech rescue world, and we get to see what everyone else is doing, what the equipment is that they're using, and new techniques that have come out since the last training event that we had. We also will rely on a lot of these other agencies if we do have a big event here at Valley Fair or somewhere else within the Shakopee. And so knowing the people on the teams and what they bring to the table is critical for us to be successful at these events.
So tonight we're going over our bailout ropes through our bailout prop and through a second story window, whichever the firefighter prefers. We have a hardened hook and a fire retardant rope specifically meant for a last case or last ditch scenario if we were in a building that was too hot for firefighters and we could not get out of a building any other way. We have rope in our pocket, and we would attach this hook to a windowsill or around a tool and put that into a window, and we can rappel out of a window to keep ourselves out of harm's way. It is absolutely a last-ditch effort, but it's better than the alternatives. So a two-vehicle accident, our rescue truck gets there first, starts assessing number of patients, number of vehicles, if it's blocking. Our engine showed up second, blocks for the scene for the rescue. We started working on ensuring we had no patients, and then securing our vehicles, cleaning up fluids, and then assisting the tow truck drivers in clearing the scene as quickly as possible so we can get our city streets back to working order as fast as possible. We're here for every member of the community, whether they speak English as their first language, second language, or they don't know any English. So that can create complications for us. But today I used Google Translate to talk to a gentleman who spoke Spanish only. And I was able to make sure that I could differentiate between him being cold or hurt. And it's just one of those things that you don't realize you're gonna need until it's there.
For the most part, with the safety features a lot of the cars have now, the airbags and stuff, a lot of people are better than what they could have been in an older model car there. So it looks a lot worse than it is 9 out of 10 times. My whole career has always been like photography and art and stuff, and been doing that pretty much full time. I own my own business. I was looking for another job to kind of help supplement income and stuff. I knew that if I got another job, I wanted it to be something where I gave back to my community, something where I served others. It seems like such a different world than photography was or is, but it's such a nice balance. It's like I have that creative side of me for photography, and then here you get to play with tools and drive big trucks and all the fun stuff of being a firefighter. All right, and then out here in the bay, so where all the trucks are, all of our apparatus here. So we have engine 1, this is our responding engine right now. And then next to it is rescue 1. And we have 2 crew members on that one for pretty much all the calls. That one tends to go to more medicals, whereas the engine won't go to basic medicals, we'll go to emergency medicals with both of the trucks here. But we'll have a crew of 2 and a crew of 2 for a daytime duty shift. And then if we have something big like a structure fire or something, we'll do an all-call and call in more people. And then we have our neighboring communities like Savage and Prior Lake, our mutual aid that will come out and send us help as well.
We have pretty much everything you need here. Kitchen, showers, locker rooms, set up with beds and dorm rooms. So we each have our own individual dorms, so we can sleep here, obviously, and respond to calls. I mean, we're here for 24 hours, so sometimes if we run in 3, 4, or 5 calls, it's not getting too much sleep. But you know, every once in a while there'll only be like 1 or 2 calls, and then you can get some sleep. But some of us go to bed a little bit earlier than others, so we try and get to bed early and hope that there isn't too much going on overnight. So dinner routine, we rotate around who's cooking. So tonight it's my turn to cook. So I got some chicken, mashed potatoes, and a Caesar salad because of health. I think it's just important to build like the teamwork, the bonding. We have some really fun, interesting dinner conversations. So kind of just go over our day, you know, talk about family, friends, whatever's going on in life. It's a really good time to like get to know each other better and enjoy a meal together. So we always have a good time with it, and we love ice cream on A shift. So there's pretty much always dessert if you come in and stop in on A shift. I think the part that I've enjoyed the most, or more than I expected to, is how like close knit everyone is. I mean, You go to a birthday party or a wedding, like everyone gets invited. I mean, I remember being on for like a month and I was getting invited to like, you know, get-togethers on a Friday for like a barbecue or something like that. What a beautiful day. Just really glad to have all of you here. We have everyone from our chiefs, deputy chiefs, people from the city, captains, firefighters. So all of you showing your support here today, being able to keep this tradition alive really means a lot to us. I'd like to start off today with taking a moment of silence for Max. So if you could all, please bow your heads.
Max Warmskirchen was the first and only Shakopee firefighter to die officially in the line of duty. Max was on the roof of a building, fell through. The challenge with the fire that Max was on is there was a room in the corner of the auto repair shop, and the firefighters didn't realize that room was there. They were continuing to search the floor, looking for him, and they couldn't find him because he was on top of that ceiling of that small office space. So that really is something we want to remember. We want to honor our brother.
They had asked me to give a speech at we hold an all-call every year to honor him, and it just meant a ton to me for someone that's kind of newer on the department to be able to speak about the courage that he had.
It's good to get those younger recruits in and tell them the history of where we've been. The fire service is steeped in 200+ years of history. That's what we do. We have traditions, we have honors, and we have a lot of things that we follow. And that bringing those young firefighters in and teaching them that and letting them know that is critical to the value of the organization long term. So if you look back historically into the deep history of the fire service, it really was a coat and a hat 50 years ago that you wore. There wasn't a boot, there wasn't a pair of pants, there wasn't a safety hood, there wasn't an STBA. We've come a long way. We've come from nothing to having air packs on our back, to coats that have multiple layers in them, to specialized helmets, to boots that have liners in the bottom if we step on something.
A big thing that we stress is scene safety, whether it involves making sure police is there, and just being really aware of your surroundings too. Being able to rely on your training and rely on your senior members of the department, your captains, chiefs, stuff like that, because they're not going to send you into a building that they know is going to collapse.
Does it ever keep you up in terms of just like, yeah, this is dangerous?
Honestly, not really. Yeah, I haven't thought about it too much. Like I said, I've always felt safe doing this job, so maybe there will come a point when it's not, but for right now, yeah.
In the back of my mind, I know there's always that risk. My family knew that there was always that risk. This was a measured risk compared to the job I had before, working with explosives. We can do literally every single thing right. We can train every day to do the right things, and it can still go and end badly for us. So we know that. Our families are prepared for that, and that reality sinks in very quickly. It's a very quick reward, right? I get to save someone's house, and at the end of the day, I get to watch them pull some of their belongings that would have been completely destroyed out of their house. That precious, heirloom from their family, or like recently this last week, pulled a picture off the wall, and it may mean nothing to that family, or it may mean everything to that family. So there's that instant gratification. And specifically working here in the city, these are the people I get to see when I go grocery shopping, the people I see at church.
I started my career as a firefighter. I was learning all the basic skills. When I came into this profession, I had zero training, as do many other people. And I stress to all of our staff that regardless of where you are in your career or where you are within the organizational hierarchy, that day in and day out, you're still a firefighter. I think we all need to put a strong focus on what it means to do and be good at the basic skills.
It all boils down to that customer service aspect of this job, where that little thing that you're doing might not mean a lot to you, and you might not think about it, but at the end of the day, it might mean something. Like, as a younger firefighter, I went into a house and some kid was gaming and left food on the stove, and like, in the middle of the fire, I was able to save his game for him and log out of his computer and then go back to firefighting it. Maybe it meant something to him. Maybe it didn't, but